Welcome to Port City Uncensored. This week brought to you by Donna Gaines, your local realtor with PMZ Real Estate. And now, let's kick this mother into gear.
Greetings from the Bat Cave, broadcasting live from Midtown Stockton. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, X, or on Facebook. Hit the like button, subscribe, follow, stay on top of what we're doing here. Want to give a shout out to our fans in Manteca, Tracy and Lodi, and Points Beyond. So I'm here in the studio with Scotty, and let me pull up, got one person on board, Donna. Donna is going to be listening in tonight. And we do have a few people scheduled to come on. Oh, what's going on, Scotty?
Just another day in the life of, I don't know, cyber. I mean, that's pretty much my life is I spend it every day learning more and more stuff. So I think you'll find something interesting to report is Discord. You know what Discord is?
Yeah.
It got hacked.
Oh, really?
Yeah, here's the kicker. When people say data, most people think numbers and data and code and a bunch of unimportant shit. However, data is like important text files of like your, phone number, social security, stuff you took a picture of and upload to your computer. That's in a file on your computer.
Okay.
So that's data pretty much. So when you sign up for something, you type in an email, a username, password. When you submit that goes to a person's computer, which is a server, which hosts all that. Mm-hmm. That's why whenever I get on a different computer, I can still log into the same site because I still have the same login credentials, right?
Yeah.
Someone's that can get breached and stolen. So if my, for example, if you had to sign up, yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Nelson. Yes, if your driver license was something you had to upload just so you could access an app, and the app database gets hacked, your driver license gets leaked, which means someone is looking at your picture on the dark web and thinking, I wonder how much crypto this guy's got or not. So it's pretty much like people, your data is your personal information that people can use against you that's floating in the internet. So that's why people are like, companies want your data, but they don't know how to protect it, which is funny because they want it to make money off it. However, hackers can also make money off that by threatening to extort it. And if they don't get their money, like, oh, well, I'll just leak it and another guy will get use out of it. So even if the guy who stole your data doesn't get use for it, it's still a one giant FU and someone can still use data such as your address. Like, you don't want that leaked on the internet.
Yeah. So what specifically went down with Discord?
Pretty much their database got hacked and their data was leaked, such as what's it called? When you talk to customer support, your driver's license ID, some credit card information when you make transactions on an app, like some of that important stuff that people can use against you. So this is called PPI, I think, or it's called personal identifiable information. So you don't want anybody to have access to that unless they're the authorized source. So when someone knows stuff about you that they're not supposed to know unless they're your doctor, lawyer, or someone like that, they can use that against you. So think about that.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense.
That's why you're going to pay guys like me to make sure no one F's up and it gets leaked, because when that gets leaked, who are the customers going to blame when their stuff's exposed? That's why they get these settlement lawsuits where like, hey, will this happen? Oh yeah, you get a letter in the mail that says so and so on this day you got were hacked, and we're notifying you about this breach and so and like here's a check for like $90 is what happened. But the thing is, though, is that that's still out there. It doesn't. The genie's out the bottle. Like 5 years later, that's still out there, and somebody can still stumble across it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so valuable to protect that data, because once it's out, it's out.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, when they upload stuff on the internet, people say it's forever. Sometimes it's forever, but it's more like you're on a ship and you're in the ocean and you're navigating through a bunch of wrecks. Now, some wrecks are at the bottom of the ocean. Can't really reach that. Mm-hmm. However, some wrecks are still floating. I can salvage that. So use that analogy.
All right.
You don't want your salvage to get salvaged. You want that to stay at the bottom of the ocean, like the Titanic. And
Yeah.
case in point, people who go down to Titanic happen to sleep with the Titanic, like that Ocean Gate guy.
Yeah.
So there's a lesson to be learned.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Because I know Discord is. I'm not on it myself.
I don't recommend using it. I don't recommend using it for the simple fact that well, pretty much if you're a business, you only use social media to talk to people you want to talk to. Otherwise, you're like having unnecessary vulnerabilities because it's like, okay, all your social media accounts are secure except this one Discord account that has a really bad password because you got lazy one time. Well, guess what? I got in, and you happen to have credit card information still attached to your account when you happen to buy stuff on the app. And like maybe it doesn't show the numbers, but it still shows me those last four. Now, if anyone knows, you really don't want people knowing the last four of your social. They may not know all your social, but you really don't want them to know any numbers because a machine can probably figure out the rest. If,
Figure out.
if, if it
Yeah.
already has half of it, it can guess the rest.
Yeah.
So, how much is it worth to protect your data? Like for you too, Nelson. Since Nelson like has to, he doesn't. You work at like a tech center, like a AI. What are they called again, Nelson? I forgot what
Is
Nelson.
he there?
Nelson.
Hello.
I work for a tech company that is basically like specializes in a tech company.
Yeah. Your audio is really
You
bad.
on your phone?
Yeah. He's on his phone tonight.
Uh, I think he said something about AI. Oh, but yeah, that's still a good point. That is that if you're
Yeah, I'm on my phone, and I'm trying. I can't necessarily hear you guys from like the link, so I have like another device set up so I can listen to you guys on YouTube
Okay.
and then just like react to what you guys are saying.
Oh, well, yeah. My
All right.
question to you, Nelson, is how much is your personal? How much would you pay to protect your data? How much is it worth to you, Nelson? Okay. Well, I guess.
Honestly,
Good.
I don't pay anything to really protect my data right now, just because I there's not really much, or I don't have a lot to really protect, in my honest opinion or personally. But it is important because there is a lot of like credit card that makes a lot of money. People that are really wealthy, they're at bigger risk of being attacked by like scammers and stuff. If you're somebody that has a credit score below 600, it's less likely that you'll be a target for these hackers. If that makes sense.
Uh,
A
yeah,
target for
yeah.
these
You wouldn't be the most
You're still a fish, though.
attractive target.
A shark will still eat a small fish.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point though. But I kind of feel like that's there's an extent to that because it's like if I said, oh, I don't own anything, no one's gonna. It's like if I have a shitty Honda, no one's gonna break into this car. It's such a beater. It gets broken into. So I feel like that's a false sense of security to believe that just because you think you're a low target, what makes you think that nothing in your life has no value of a hacker who could get use out of that. So you might not be rich, but you might have access to a piece of software or an account that they really want, like your Steam account, for example. It might not even be money. Maybe you just bragged about having a bunch of games. And like, man, I want to play the new Call of Duty, and I'm poor, and I live in a third world country, and this guy says he has access to all these games. I'll go steal his Xbox account.
Well, the other thing is,
Still got something of value.
just your identity alone
Oh yeah,
could be lifted,
you can
and
be identity
then
fraud.
someone would use that for other nefarious purposes.
Yeah, like logging into your Amazon account, and having them ship shit to wherever they want, because it's like I don't know, it's just a never ending loophole. It's my advice is that if you think you're safe, you're not. You're safe if you live under a bunker with a computer that's not connected to the internet, but we're all using the internet. So we're all sailing the sea, baby. So once you're on the ocean, you're not on land. The rules are different. So
Hmm.
you got to roll with the tide of it. But yeah, my advice would be is to protect your data regardless of how small it is. Because me personally, if I have a bunch of family photos that I store on my computer and someone decides to be an asshole and like, oh, this guy's not having a value, but I see he has a folder that says family members, I'll just delete that. Bye bye. 20 years gone
Mm.
because he felt like it. I mean, I'm just showing you the worst possibility because it can happen. It's not always about the money. It's more about the power,
Yeah.
right? Everyone's after something different, and not
So,
all.
Scotty, I have a question for you. What do you currently do to secure your data?
Great, I'm glad you asked. So I use something called a VPN because your data is not encrypted when you're using public Wi-Fi. I also use data removal such as Opter, which is what you pay guys money so they can remove your data from sites. So when people Google you, your first name, it doesn't pop up. There's a bunch of other web methods, but the funny thing about that is that you can't always pay your way
Up,
out.
guys.
You can't always just pay someone to wipe you off the internet. I mean, as much as nice as it be, sometimes you have to do it yourself. But the question lies in how much technical capability does the average Joe have when it comes to computers and personal data? Do you remember every website you've been? What if I told you there's pictures of you from 20 years ago that are still lurking on the web and someone could just stumble across them? I mean, no one's looking for it, but that don't mean they can't just stumble upon it. And wondering, who's this guy? I mean, nobody wants that on the internet. Nobody wants to expose stuff. So who do you turn to protect you? That's the $1 million question, right? We know we're vulnerable, right? But who's going to protect us? Do you trust the government to protect your data? Do you trust a corporation to protect it? No, you have to protect it yourself because they only look at you as a net profit, which leads me to my viewpoint that I will never work for a corporation. That's why I work for small businesses because their data matters. Like you said, credit card information does. No matter how small the business is, they still have to use technology that computes all the transactions, the receipts, that sends your money to the bank, etc. All of that is convenient for you, but if one happens to find a vulnerability into it, you will be impacted. But who do you turn to in times like that if you're the average Joe?
Mm.
I'm the average guy. You're the average guy. We're all pretty much just the average Joe, right? But we can't exactly just call up our own IT support team to come fix our grandma's Wi-Fi from being, hit by ransomware. It's just some real stuff. Is that not everyone has somebody to turn to? What if they did? That's what
Yeah.
I'm training for, Nelson, because I kind of hate the bill not being able to. Okay, so I had to pay a lot of money out of pocket. The stuff I learned, I had to spend a lot of time. I had to read a lot of books. No one holding my hand. No one pretty much trained me. My colleges, my YouTube, my whatever I did to get to where I was at. Like I had to learn this on my own. You have to find a very unique kind of person that is wired differently, right? Because one dude can fix a printer. That's one thing. How about a dude that can protect you from fucking nation state China hackers and stuff like that? The real business. Because when it comes down to money, like you said, since you own a business yourself, would you not feel inclined to want to protect that? And that itself is an ROI, return on investment, is investing into your security because that is what protects your future. When you attack people's money for their funny money, then they're going to start caring. That's why they go after the big corporations and businesses. But my point being is that what about the ones that don't? Because it's so much easier to go after the small fish than the big fish.
Mm. Interesting point. Alex, welcome to the stream.
How's it going, guys?
All right. All right. Alex, I know you deal a lot in the financial sector and, digital currency and stuff.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Crypto.
What are the vulnerabilities in that world?
Good question. How would you feel if your crypto account got stolen? All because someone happened to SIM swap your phone number, and a really shitty customer agent gave them information because they just happened to have the last four of your social, which was leaked on a database. This is called SIM swapping. That's how they get into crypto accounts. I know this shit because that's pretty much what's popping these days. If it's not going after the businesses, it's crypto scams because crypto's the pretty much liquid gold. Yeah, it's funny to think about it that it's mainly just teenagers doing this shit. Really, what you be wondering is that how does North Korea do it? Because North Korea actually makes most of their revenue money by hacking people and gaining their cryptocurrency. After all, when you're a country that's cut off from outside trade, how do you make money? Right? I steal
Uh,
it.
I would say I kind of agree, especially with hacking, just because a lot of it is in the blockchain, but it's easily trackable. Like you can see what transaction is made, like no matter what. So accountability wise, it's there. But when it comes to wallets and services, you have to think back to, I think it was a couple years ago, the whole meme stock, like 2003, not
Those
2023, 2022.
Dogecoin,
We're
right?
like, yeah, we're GameStop, like AMC, all of them, Bed Bath and Beyond, like their stocks, they rose, and that was just a reverse short where everybody who was betting against it, like these big hedge funds and everything, were, you know, they they lost a lot of money betting against it because the stock price rose, right? Because they were expecting it to go down. And so what happens is that sometimes these funds and these brokerages accounts that house Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Dogecoin, even XRP, all that, even blockchain ETFs. What happens is that if there's a lot of volume, if people are making money from it, those brokerages have the ability to stop or halt all trading if volatility rises, and that's what we saw with GameStop and AMC, Bed Bath Beyond, and a few other meme stocks back in those days. But those are stocks, right? They're more regulated with versus Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
Volatile.
So there's also that risk as well. That's another vulnerability, and the fact that it's uh, Bitcoin in itself. Same thing with stocks is thin air. Like its volatility is the fact that it's nothing. Like physically, there's no
It doesn't exist physically.
no,
It's
no,
just digital numbers.
there's no real like sense of Bitcoin, right?
It's not an
Versus
actual
gold.
coin.
Right, yeah, it's there's no actual currency. Like if worse comes to worse, like gold is the number one thing because of its value, malleability. It doesn't rust. Like it's there for a reason. It's valuable for a reason. And yeah, it's just not, it's thin air. So those are the main three vulnerabilities I see
One
with
more. There's one more.
Bitcoin.
The rug
But
pull.
there's also the fact that it's not infinite. Bitcoin was made to stop at some point. I think there's a limit. I forgot the number, but there's a limit to how much Bitcoin there can be. With paper, right, with cash, it's nearly infinite, but you're just going to devalue it to where it has hyperinflation, kind of like Germany in World War One or after World War One, where they saw hyperinflation, and Zimbabwe as well, where they have like billion-dollar notes, right? So, you know, it's insane. Especially, I think even Venezuela a couple years ago, I think a decade ago, experienced hyperinflation. So, there's also that too. But Bitcoin, it'll last. The more it's mined, the more it's like found and decoded. It will then become so valuable that it'll, it's not
It won't
readily
last
available.
the government, pretty
Same
much.
thing with gold, actually. Gold technically, we've only discovered apparently we've only discovered about 3% of all gold on Earth, right? So there's also potentially gold in national parks that we can't ever touch, or even deep sea Pacific floor gold that we'll never see, right? So eventually gold will run out, but there's just so much of it that it'll last forever. It can always be found. But those are some vulnerabilities I see with it. I think Bitcoin is good because it's a different form of currency. It's more readily available. It's faster, compared to Visa and Mastercard transactions. It's more instant. And yeah,
Mm.
I've got some data onto that. The worst vulnerability is getting rug pulled because there's this thing called a shit coin and people can buy it. And it's cryptocurrency, but it's a fucking joke. But people can still buy it, pump it up. And a guy can be like, all right, guys, I'm making a currency called Alex Money. We're all going to invest into my coin called Alex Money. And once a million people invest into it, that shit's got skyrocket. Each Alex coin is worth it's random. Like there's a certain amount that can exist. Believe it or not, I put this. So if someone were to invest into a crypto coin that has a certain amount that exists, what if I told you that there's people who before launched a coin were investors who already own like say there's a coin they own 50% of that already. So if two guys already own 50% of a meme coin, and there's millions or billions of other people who already bought that other 50%, that means that these guys can rug pull your ass because they own a majority of it. So it's like you guys pretty much just pumped up their coin, and now these two guys who own a large percentage of it can now sell that because they own 50% of the fucking thing, and now they just made a bunch of money, and now your coin's not worth much because 50% just went fucking gone. I'm not like a professional crypto guy, but I can see that there's a danger into investing into volatile internet money because crypto can pretty much outlast a government, which is why people put money into it because, oh, well, this government failed. The next one will come by. Crypto money's still here. Oh, we'll just use it again. Because when you print money, it's like the value system. Something's only valuable because it's scarce, and the more of it that exists, the less valuable it becomes. Like gold, for example. If I can just like dig in my backyard and over a rock and find a bunch of gold everywhere, then it's not that valuable because everyone can find it. Now, not everyone can get cryptocurrency because cryptocurrency, such as Bitcoin, has a limited amount that can exist. Not all cryptocurrencies are the same. Cryptocurrency is internet money. There's different types of internet money. Bitcoin, Doge, XRP, the ones Alex was saying. Not all of these have a certain cap. Dogecoin, for example, I think it has a way higher cap than Bitcoin. So that's why people are trying to. Doge is a meme coin. It's a coin of a dog doing a smiley face, pretty much. It's a meme. Elon Musk promotes it, more people invest into it. So it goes up in value. So I guess what I'm getting at here is that it would be smart to safeguard your future by investing into cryptocurrency and gold. And pretty much you're investing into things that you know will outlast the government should worst come to worst. Which is why people have undercover or hidden bunkers full of guns, gold, and all the useful stuff because, well, the government's probably not going to be around forever to, say they're here for my best interest, but at least I have these things that give me an advantage over a broke guy who didn't invest into any of this. It only has money, paper money, which is effectively monopoly money. Because what if in the future there's no cash? It's only crypto. So whoever gets into it in the beginning stands to gain from it if it blows up in the future, which is why there's a thing called a crypto bro, crypto millionaires, which is essentially a guy like 15 years ago or fucking 2010 who bought Bitcoin when it was like worth like maybe $8 or $8 grand, whatever it is, and they bought a bunch of it, and because they think it doesn't mean anything, and then 10 years later it's worth a bunch more. There's a story of a guy who paid 20 Bitcoins for a pizza. You know how much that worth now? You know how stupid that guy feels and wish he never got that goddamn pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty much
Shit, man, $20 worth of Bitcoin back then is now worth what? Shit, that's like
a single
almost
Bitcoin is worth 100 grand.
$2.2 million right there.
Yeah, man,
Whoa.
that's a lot of money. So
Yeah.
who's stupid? The guy who's working a 9 to 5 for a corporation, don't give a fuck about him, or the guy who's grinding, watching the crypto charts, investing into the coins he'll know will be successful within 5 years because you watch
Well,
that shit like
at the time, no one really thought of it as like
Satoshi
that.
Nakamoto did.
Hey, listen,
Creator, dude.
it wasn't treated as such. I mean, if you look back, the first
2008.
ever peak of Bitcoin was probably like 2017 when it reached close to $8,000. And that was 2017. That was barely 10 years ago, right? So, and that happened just because of a fluke of Wall Street bets. Them talking about it and the hype, right? Oh, how easy it is to get around transaction fees, and
It's not that
how
easy.
and how like untrackable transactions are, right? Because
Unless you're
it's not
using
regulated.
XRP, I mean not XRP, Monero. Monero is actually what hacker money. Hacker money is called Monero because it's harder to track and I don't know. It doesn't have a blockchain. I think it's pretty much the feds hate it because they can't track it and you can buy useful shit with it. So Bitcoin is the gold coin. Monero is the silver coin. I guess that's a good analogy. So, fuck me. Oh my God, we're going full cyberpunk. It's not even 2030, and the rich money that's going to keep you having a roof over your head is going to be internet money. It's not going to be the cash like it was 50 years ago, which could buy a house. It's the dude that's like 10 fucking Doge coins or of a meme coin. It's like, really? And at that point, you just have to like adapt to the system and think, you know what? It's like maybe things aren't cutting it right now. I call that running inferior software on a very useful system. So it's like, imagine you have all this superior hardware, but you're running Windows XP. You're not going to get much use out of that hardware because you don't have the brain power with it. So I'm saying for pretty much if you're a very young single guy and you happen to have money, you're good investing, it'd be a good time to invest into your future. Invest into assets that are not going to depreciate. Well, I guess just pretty much going to bachelor. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. What sounds better? Which is more expensive, having a kid or crypto? Having a kid's more expensive.
Well, there's one thing a financial advisor will never tell anybody, and that is go start a family. Okay, because that is not a money-making proposition.
It's
In
money
fact, that's a
losing.
money-draining.
That's a money pit.
Yeah,
That's a money pit right there.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
good point. But
So isn't that kind of sad that guys got to stay single because the illusion of having a family that they can support by themselves on their own income is no longer a dream. It's kind of like if you're rich, you can afford a family. If you're the average guy working McDonald's, you're never gonna have a family, bro.
well, I guess the bottom line is, and I know I know quite a while back. I was told that, I mean, and at that time, I think the amount was 35,000. It's probably 50 or 60 now, but that's the amount you need if you want to have a kid. And if you're not making that minimum amount, then you and your kid are going to have a shitty life.
You need that Silicon Valley money.
You know, and
Yeah,
so,
that's it just depends really, like where you're at. A lot of places around the states are different.
San
I
Francisco.
think,
well, yeah,
yeah,
everything's relevant. If the wages are lower in one spot, well, odds are that housing prices are lower too. And whatnot. So it's all in balance. In California here, we've got the highest taxes and gas prices
And everything still sucks.
Yeah, so you pay through the nose, and it is what it is. Let me get.
So the future is pretty much the internet.
Yeah, well, we live in changing times, and we're literally watching it evolve on a day-to-day basis. But on that note, we're starting talking about how it affects families and whatnot, and again, kids that are being raised.
Raised by who?
Well, good question, but raised in situations where they're economically, on the short end of the stick, and those are the kids that eventually get involved in gangs, get involved with crime, wind up trying to climb through my window to take my stereo, et cetera, et cetera.
You know, I'd solve that by making a YouTube channel and teaching them all the shit their daddy did and how to make their own fucking radio so they don't have to steal someone else's and get shot over it. The solution is simple: is having someone there to guide these people. But no. Let's let the government babysit you. Does that not seem sad? I'm pretty sure boys are supposed to be raised into men. It's like steel sharpens steel, right? Or am I just tripping here? What happened?
Well, let's take a look at this video clip because here in Stockton we've had a recent crime spike, and it's been kind of a bad year for teens, especially in the areas of Anderson Park. So let's just watch this for a moment.
I want to check. Does my audio work?
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, okay, it's so much better. I finally was able to get the EveMux app to
Recent
work with
incidents
my
in Stockton
headset.
have led to a notable spike in violent crime, raising significant concern among residents and officials. The Stockton Police Department has reported multiple violent events, including 3 shootings and 3 stabbings since Friday, with suspects still at large in several cases. Key incidents: 1. Restaurant shooting. A shootout at a local restaurant resulted in a shattered glass door and bullet holes, with a 38-year-old man recovering from a gunshot wound. 2. Car shooting. Another shooting on Saturday involved a 22-year-old man and a woman who were attacked while sitting in a car, where an infant was also found in the back seat unharmed. 3. Samantha Camacho's homicide. The investigation of a deadly shooting at Anderson Park led to the tragic death of 19-year-old Samantha Rose Camacho. This incident is notably the second fatality at Anderson Park this year, following the death of 17-year-old Julian Martinez earlier. Despite ongoing investigations, police have not identified a suspect or motive, prompting calls for increased police presence in the area. 4. Rising violence among teens. 2025 has witnessed an alarming rise in violence among teenagers in Stockton, with 4 victims aged 17 years old among those killed. The growing number of incidents has sparked community concern and demands for action. Community response. In the wake of these incidents, there have been calls from community leaders, including city council members, for enhanced police patrols and community safety measures, especially focused on areas like Anderson Park, which have become hotspots for violence. This surge in violent crime underscores ongoing challenges related to public safety in Stockton, reflecting a broader issue that has affected many urban areas grappling with similar trends. The police department is actively working to identify suspects and enhance community safety amid rising fears and calls for action from residents.
All right, that's what's been going on here lately. And a side note on the Anderson Park area, in addition to the killings there's been a number of robberies also popping up on the police blotter in recent months. And it's pretty much all after dark. And so a lot of questions have been raised as far as, okay, how come there ain't more of a police presence out there? And on the parents' end, who who thinks it's a good idea to have your kid out after dark in that particular area, which I've started to call it the Bermuda Triangle for teenagers in Stockton here. And so,
Well, they're 18, right? They're not necessarily kids anymore. Once you're 18, technically, like, you're in the eyes of the law,
I mean,
a
as the
legal
law,
adult.
you're an adult, but you're still a fucking kid. I was 18. I was still a fucking idiot. I'm still in
Yeah,
Texas now.
that
Doesn't
that's fine, but that's fine. But just because you're like that has nothing to do with it. When you're 18,
maturity
it's
wise.
not necessary. Yes, but when you're 18, once you turn 18, you're legally an adult. A lot of people, at least a lot of young people, take that as okay. I'm 18. I am free to do what I want. That's why you see them out on the streets.
yeah, okay. But the first kid that got killed there, he was 17. That was back in February. And of course, there's always reports of kids that are under 18, that are that are turning up, after a shooting, or they get pulled over in a car,
Yeah, so why are they
and
still
they
there?
find guns. I mean,
Yeah, they shouldn't be there.
They're
They
not adults,
shouldn't.
they're still there.
yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of factors. Drugs. I look at a report on a police blotter, and oh yeah, it's after midnight. A couple of kids get shot in a car, and parked on some street. Well, odds are they were they were waiting to score, or meeting a deal, or stuff like that. So that happens too.
So it's the culture that's the problem. I mean, you can put as many cop cars as you want outside. That's like what's the word?
No,
Proactive. Do something. Reactive.
I wouldn't
Scotty,
say
you hit the hammer right on the nail on that one. It's all about the culture.
Well, that
Because
hand
literally,
is blocked right now.
no, because literally, like for example, because this isn't necessarily pertaining to Stockton, but like if I was out in Oakland today, literally, like there's people across the street doing like a bunch of illegal shit across the station from like the courthouse where there's a bunch of cops.
Yeah,
Nobody does or says anything.
Because
That's
nobody
literally just the culture.
culture. So why is that
Yep,
the culture? Because we've grown to accept it. You try that shit
exact.
in Texas, in a hardcore town where everyone's got guns and they'll put up with that. What do you think the response would be? Because it's a vastly different culture, right? Which means a different response. That's my case in point. When you accept bullshit, that's what you're gonna get.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you want your kids to
No.
be like that?
Well, California has had a good run in recent history as far as passing laws that have made it really easy on the criminal element.
Still under $1,000, and it's just a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, a guy gets busted and he's out the next day or in a couple hours. And so yeah, that contributes to the factor that we're pretty tolerant about a lot of crap here. in California that we shouldn't be. I mean, we passed the proposition, was it 36? To start cracking down on a lot of crime again. And our, madman Governor Newsom, that's, nah, I'm not going to bother with that.
I want to be president.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like Donald Trump.
Yeah, we love the criminals. So, but now we have next year's election. We got a primary coming up here. We've got city council seats that will be up for grabs. So let's say you're a candidate. You're running for the city council. You've got teens killing teens here in Stockton, and violence among the youth. As a candidate, what should your take be? How would you handle that? Nelson, you want to take a shot at that?
Let's do it. All right. Yeah, let's do it. So, are you going to ask me questions and you want me to give you a response, or how are we doing this?
Yeah. Okay. If you were a candidate running next year, all right, and you've got the situation with youth violence in Stockton, you're going to get questions about it, and so how would you handle it?
Wait, ask me and him both, so we can have like a debate, so we
All
can
right.
have two different perspectives on how we would solve the issue.
All right, go ahead. Your council candidates. Violence.
Is there? So this is my question. Isn't there like a curfew in Stockton for minors?
I don't think I've ever heard of one. Even if there was, I don't think it would really work because, like you
It's
said,
probably implied. I'm sure it's like an implied rule. It's like, 10 o'clock or like 11 o'clock or something.
Because I remember back when we grew up in like the area that we grew up in, Alex, in San Carlos, like San Carlos had a curfew, and the curfew was like 10 o'clock for people that were like under 18. I think it was 10 or 11 o'clock.
Usually, like,
and usually those laws didn't need to be enforced unless the children, unless there's a reason to enforce it. So
if you're a couple kids that are walking around, the police might show up, be like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? Like, go home." Just kind of relax, or it depends on the cop. If they want to be a dick about it.
If it's fucking 2 a.m. at night and some cops, kids, what are you gonna do?
Donna, you have something you want to add? Hold on, I hear Donna speak.
I hear you guys talking about the cops, the curfews, the culture, but nobody said anything about the parents.
Aren't the parents
like
no, parents aren't allowed to parent no more.
Oh,
that's
right.
also like another big thing. Parents are not allowed to parent no more.
Yeah. Is that what it is? Because I feel like they need to be held accountable for their kids at some point. Like, the police could do so much, the school teachers could do so much, but at some point, the parents have to be held accountable to know where their kids are. After a certain hour, kids should be inside. If you don't realize your child is inside, that's a problem. And I do get there are parents that do work overnight, have overnight jobs and things like that. But at that point, you should have something in place to know where your kid is at all times.
It's called morals.
Regardless if they're right. Like, who said that at 18 it was still like wild?
It was me. It was me.
Yeah, you at 18, you're still trying to find your way.
My mom.
You still need guidance.
Yeah, that's why she
absolutely
said out at night. It's simple because I was
that's fine, but you have to understand with the way that culture and the environment that Stockton is like. A lot of these kids, once they hit 18, they see that as a hall pass to do whatever the fuck they want, and that's the current state of Stockton.
Who's saying that, baby? I'm from New Orleans. It can't get. Let me tell you. What you talking about, Stockton? I'm from New Orleans. Okay.
Okay.
We're crazier.
But that's fine. That's fine. New Orleans, it's its own environment.
Right, but wherever you are, what I'm saying is this, okay? Wherever you are, when it comes to your kids, you need to know where they are at all times. Now, rightfully, when they become an adult and they're out your house and they're grown and they're going on about their business, that's one thing. But if they still living with you, you should be held accountable for what your kids are doing.
Exactly, because they're under your house, right? It's like unless.
But again, That only, like I said, that only happens until they're 18. Because regardless of whether they live with their parents or not, once they turn 18, whatever they do, the consequences don't fall on the parents. It falls strictly on the child.
Because they're an adult legally in the eyes of the law, which means their choices are on
And
them, not their parents anymore.
And
absolutely, but
that's
I'm
what
not.
the issue is.
Like
So
shitty parents.
hold on, either the laws need to change to where you aren't necessarily legally considered an adult until you're 21, so then we can start holding parents more accountable, or there has to be like stricter, I don't know, like it's either that, or there has to be like stricter laws or something where like if you're a child, if you're 18 but you're still living at home, but your parents
I
have to
don't
be accountable. But
disagree.
then I don't think
Right.
people would go for that. It would be
I
better if
don't
they just
disagree.
raise the age to 21, so if it is 21, then parents can actually be held accountable, because once they turn 18, parents really don't have a say on what the kids actually can or can't do.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't disagree with that, but I'm talking about minors. I'm talking about the youth when they sitting in a park and they doing things that they have no business doing after 10 o'clock, killing up each other, running around with guns.
For their
That's what
age.
I'm talking about.
I think
For their
And right. So I feel like
age.
it should also be things in place like youth in Stockton to help the youth to occupy their mind and their
Parks and
time.
Recreational Center, Parks and Rec
I,
Center, like
I
New York.
think I think a bigger issue from what I've been seeing, like I've grew up, I don't live in Stockton. I grew up in California, lived there for 25 years. I now live in Florida, and I definitely see that there are some communities where stuff like this happens while others don't. And if I were a candidate running for mayoral position or even vice mayor, my solution on this would just take a step back and think of the long term. Where do kids learn? Where do kids spend 8 to 10 hours of their time? In
Social media.
school, right?
School.
Social media? They're fun.
So to me, if you have different sections of the city where they receive more funding because of taxes, while other parts that aren't as valued as higher, land value, you're not going to receive that much funding because of taxes, right? So I see it here.
Right.
There's mixed schools because of taxes and land value, and there's other places that aren't really so great where they don't have the facilities for that. So it all stems from
The
like
quality of
how
education?
how they're brought up in the sense of, because you can be a nice parent, you can be the best parent, teach them the right values, but who are they hanging out with all day? Where they're going to be influenced, they're bullied for not doing that, so pressured to not do stuff. So it all stems from that, and how the educational system is brought into their lives, especially through K through 12 when they're minors, right? And even earlier on, like especially through K through 8, or 9, or however your school is structured. So that's where it all begins, because if you don't have the right funding for schools, that instilling of
Exactly.
common sense isn't going to be instilled. Kids won't have
And
outlets for
then
sports,
a
music,
lot of and
drama.
then that go right, exactly. And I agree with that also. And a lot of that goes back to the parents too, because the parents are not actively involved into the school system to where they're
Exactly.
So why
fighting
are they
for
having
funding for the kids.
so why are they having
Exactly.
kids?
Because
Well,
they want families, bro. They want
Why you
families,
having
bro.
kids if they just gonna raise up to be a fucking criminal because you a shitty parent? Why you having kids?
That's
Let's
Because they get $2,000 a year in tax relief, and they also get benefits from the government because they're subsidizing you having a child.
so the government's their daddy.
not necessarily. They have like,
Yes.
so, I
well,
guess. I
Yes.
mean,
I love the different answers. Not necessarily. Yes.
well, here's the thing. Being a parent, you're in competition. You're in competition, like, okay, with the schools. Okay, if you're in a school where you got a bunch of gangbangers, running the show in the hallways,
Yep.
well, that's going to be a particular influence.
I've seen it.
You've got TV, you've got social media,
TikTok.
you've got all these different things that, as a parent, you are competing with for your kids' attention and influence.
Who hasn't more?
That's just a fact in today's world. So yeah, to be a good parent, you really have to be proactive. And unfortunately, we have some that ain't. And in fact, we have some parents that are complete deadbeats. All right. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. And
Also, my earlier statement doesn't apply to all parents. I'm just like I'm specifically talking about the ones J Man's talking about, the deadbeats. Continue, J
right, right, and you've got situations where you've got these, women that have 92 kids from 64 different fathers,
That government
and
check.
nobody's paying a nickel in child support.
Yeah.
So
But
however,
how are they getting by, J Man? Because the government is subsidizing them.
For every baby that pop out is another sweet check from Uncle Sam.
yeah,
Facts. No, facts. They get EBT,
Yeah,
WIC,
I
all these benefits.
understand.
There is no family unit. It's been replaced by the company unit. What can you do for the company? Pop up more slaves for the system. Here's a check. Damn, that's some deep shit, bro. Maybe we're all just
Oh my god.
fucking machine. I smoked a lot, but I can tell you one thing, ladies and gents. It starts with the education system and the quality of it. So if I'm surrounded by dumbasses, I will become a dumbass. If I'm surrounded by someone,
Not necessarily.
uh,
Not necessarily.
I can attest to that actually. You have a higher chance of it.
You have
There's
a higher
always
chance of
people
it, but it also
people.
it also depends on like your personality, because you could be in a room full of dumbasses, but you could be the one person that stands out,
I don't
right?
give a shit
You
about
always got to inspire. So this is also like the other thing that frustrates me about like the mentality of our youth as a whole. Like,
which
what happened to like like I said, our youth as a whole? Like,
which youth
what
though? Which one?
I'm talking as a whole, like are people my like I'll
Like
say
my age?
from 30 down, like I'll say from 30 down, like our generation from like 30 to like kids. Like they have given up and they are so easily influenced by whatever is trendy. They go with whatever the flow is and with whatever everybody else is going with. There's no more individuality.
Why is
Does
that?
that make sense?
Yeah, it does. That's
So
Absolutely.
rather than wanting to go out of your way and being the one person that stands out in a room full of stupid people, you'd rather be another one of the stupid people that just fits in with them so you can get along with everybody.
herd
And that's the
mentality.
issue with the mentality of today's society as a whole. And that's why like we've gotten to where we've gotten as a country, because of the way that we've embraced this type of mindset.
But which part of us? Because we're country divided. Because not all of us have the
The
same.
99%. Because at the end of the day, it's the 1% that stand out, right?
yeah,
I agree with you, man. I mean, especially with the people who you're surrounded with as a kid, not only like what's on the phone, but I mean, I remember when like Nelson, you and I were kids, we didn't have like phones all the time. Yeah, we have like flip phones, or slide up or, I
I
had a
had the
Sony
motherfucking
Ericsson.
juke.
I had some people had Nokias, the flip phones. Some people had
The
Blackberries. So
Motorola Razor.
I had 2 tin cans and some string.
Yeah,
yeah, there you go.
there you
I've
go.
had that once and it works. It
Yeah.
works, man. And that's the thing. But then even back then, I'm assuming, Jack, when we were a kid, like rumors started, so they would spread word of mouth, and so
Oh boy.
things like that would then it would be a slower impact for sure because people weren't as connected. But
Yeah.
like now it's just so easy to get like a dopamine rush of people saying 6'7" or like copying whatever
Ah,
the
ah.
streamer is, or so
Well,
it's very influential.
Skibbity
these
toilet.
yeah.
As a kid.
dumbass dances that just take up people's
Fortnite.
fucking time. Like, do you guys understand how much screen time, how much time people, like how much of people's days are wasted
It's
literally scrolling through their phone, watching people do stupid ass dances on TikTok, and
so
them watching these people do these dances is actually helping the people actually doing the dances or whoever posted the video, because they're generating income per view that they get.
so we
Yeah.
have a bunch of idiots who are profitable
Yep.
idiots, mass produced by social engineering.
You just have to know how to work the system.
How are you gonna save your kids, bro? That's a better question. Don't let them access
Oh,
the internet. Simple.
Nah, you gotta expose them to the right things, and you have to monitor what they're watching at all fucking
They're
times.
using tablets in school nowadays, so
Yeah.
The
you know
tablet.
they're going to be exposed to the internet.
You're not
Go
gonna
back
stop
to
them from seeing some fucked up shit, bro. I can tell you what. It's that it's not even that you could go looking for it. It's more that it's so much in your face. It'll be on fucking ads and shit. That's basically why, because I study this shit. So you guys are like, I don't know how to put this. It's like I'm in a room full of guys who are all versions like before me, and I'm like the newest one. So it's like I'm the newest version of Windows. So and I'm trying to analogy I'm trying to draw here is that I've seen the beginning or experience what you guys seen. Like it's like you guys saw the end of it. I'm seeing the beginning of something new. If that makes sense. Like you guys were the old internet. I'm the new internet. If that makes sense. And I was raised in the in between when you could just go find cool shit and like it wasn't so monetized and corporations were pushing ads everywhere. Like when you didn't have to show your ID to access the internet, like in some countries.
Scotty,
Yeah.
I want you to just remember that we're only like 4 or 5 years apart, man.
I know that's old.
That's not that old, Scotty.
It's like 5 Windows versions in technology years.
It's
It's like
not that.
an iPhone
No,
It's
it
not
ain't.
that big. J Man's internet to our internet is
What?
completely different.
That's like the I don't what did you say, the string and ball?
the
String and ball.
the tin cans and the string for
Tin
the
can, tin
phone.
cans.
Yeah, yeah. My first laptop was an Etch a Sketch.
It's an etch a sketch. It
I
was
had
an
one of
etch a
those.
sketch.
A
You had
tablet.
to shake it.
Yeah, but we'll talk though. Is that how do you protect your kids from making horrible mistakes on the internet, such as posting dumb, horrible images of themselves? If you catch my drift, or worse,
Screen time, bro.
stumbling down a
Screen time.
rabbit hole and being radicalized into whatever movement that brainwashes your son.
Oh,
That's scary.
I'll throw something else into the mix there. I'd like to be the kid that you're at school and one of your buddies comes up and shows you a picture on the phone and says, "Hey, I didn't know your mom had an OnlyFans account."
Oh no! I forgot the worst of them all. You can't erase OnlyFans because guess what? That shit gets leaked. So,
How many people are going to find
yeah.
themselves in that
In
position?
10 years, hi, I got your mom's nudes. I got 40 gigabytes. No, but it's real scary though. Is that shit is shared so fucking blatantly. Is that you don't want to push your mistakes on the internet so that it ends up in someone else's hard drive for millions to watch 5 years later because it just happens to stumble upon on the internet, right? I can't tell if you're coughing or laughing or both.
Hope we don't lose you there.
Yeah, but don't post dumb
Sorry, I forgot I wasn't you.
and protect your kids from being talked to by strangers on the internet because stranger danger cranked up to 11. There are no friends on the internet. You're a shark.
So, as a parent, one of the things I do adamantly and vehemently like must say is monitor all of your children's um
Everything.
like yeah, all of your children's devices, whatever they use. Check every single app that they use,
Who
check
they
what
talk
they're
to?
watching, check who they're talking to, be
Trust me.
on their kids and talk to your children, especially about internet safety and not to give addresses out, not to give any information out. To ask you as the parent who they're allowed to talk to on the internet until they mature to an age where they can make those proper decisions. Obviously, they're not going to ask you like throughout their entire life, but always monitor what they're doing because there's a lot of monsters out there, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh
There
yeah.
are a lot of monsters out there, and you have to take care of your children. Please, that's the one thing I beg of all of you.
Don't let them get corrupted. Trust me. It's as simple as this. Do not let them get corrupted. I'm training to protect you guys from monsters. There's some spooky shit out there. So you're pretty much gonna pay me to be giving these fucking lectures like I'm Stephen Hawking. Not that I'm in a wheelchair, but you get my point. That was maybe a bad analogy, but the point is that yeah, Nelson's right, but is that there are monsters out there, and they only need a Wi-Fi connection to reach your children. So
Yeah,
So if your data
And if
is important,
and if you know, and if your children don't know about internet safety,
easy
they'll
prep.
make. I know a friend who themselves made a mistake when they were a child, gave their address out
Oh
to
no.
this person. When their mother took away their phone, this dude tried to show up to their house, and luckily the police got to this guy, and nothing happened. Same thing happened to their little sister.
Yeah, there's cases where
Whoa.
that went south because there were no cops that showed up, right?
I'm
So
just saying, guys, talk to your children about internet safety, please.
yeah, when I'm talking about Predator, I'm not talking about that Arnold Schwarzenegger, whatever the fuck his name is, movie. I'm talking about that kind of Predator.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the Terminator, Scotty. Predator's a different franchise.
Yeah, you get to the
Getting
chopper. Yeah,
No, but
get
the
Epstein.
chopper.
Nelson,
I think
where the
I think
Epstein
he's
files
good in
need to go.
Predator. No,
Yeah. Well, yeah, we could
he's a
use
Predator.
Arnold to
Could use Arnold.
patrol the internet.
Hunt the predators,
Yeah.
bro. If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Absolutely. Hey guys,
Life is amazing.
let me take a moment here to meet some
Pay some bills.
obligations here.
Guys, have you heard? Nelson, tell the people.
Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons.
Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
Hey guys, Smacks here. If you guys like gaming, swing over to Twitch, Smacks_TTV, live most nights. Stop by, say hi, drop a follow.
Guys, join me, Alex the Man Angelov, and check out A&A Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and want the best cut of your life, go check out Headspin's Barbershop, located in South San Francisco, the official barbershop of N1 from the End Zone.
Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast, where we break down all the latest content and talk about life. Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops. You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it.
Hey guys, I'm here in Stockton today, and I'm with Donna. We're at this beautiful house in North Stockton, and some lucky buyer is going to be walking away with it. Imagine having a brand new place to live. Donna, somebody's looking for a house. What do they got to do?
Give me a call, and we will get you pre-qualified, look for you a home, and then do the process of closing.
All right, and to get this ball rolling, I know they got to talk to you. How do we get hold of you?
At 209-301-5193 or at dgaines@pmz.com.
All right, thank you, Donna. Hey guys, back to the show. All right, so
I want a voiceover. I want to do that now. I'm kind of jealous.
oh, well,
Coming soon to the movie
well,
theater near you.
there will be other opportunities coming. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so I guess bouncing back to my original question again, for someone that might be a city council candidate running next year, addressing the issue of youth violence, that we're dealing with here in Stockton.
Can I try? It's my turn.
Yeah, go ahead. What would your take be?
So let's see. All right, nobody get mad at me. I'm gonna give you my unbiased, 100% unfiltered, red-pilled, super based take. Okay. All right. So let's see here. What seems to be the problem? Well, the problem seems to be that young people in Stockton are trigger happy. I'm stoned, but sorry if I'm a little bit unhinged. But the problem is that these kids are trigger happy and they're shooting each other over stupid, pointless reasons. Bro, this isn't Ukraine. It's not a war zone. There's not. I imagine there's really not a good enough reason for them pulling out guns. Yet they do, and the culture is the reason why. Is that they think it's okay. It's like, oh, hey man, you disrespected me, bro. Bro, I'm supposed to be this big, tough thug gangster, and you said my shoes are gay, so I'm going to pull out my Uzi and shoot you now. And that's pretty much what they do. It sounds stupid, That's pretty much how it is. It's more of what culture I'd say this is. It's
Scotty. So, Scotty, what is your solution for youth
I'm getting to
violence?
that. I'm getting to that. I'm cutting out the root of the problem, which would be
That's not the root of the problem. The
can
problem is because
let me
it's not just.
finish. Cutting out the root of the problem by pretty much giving no incentive to do any of that. So whatever the reason is that they do all this, you pretty much give them 100 different alternatives, such as like, hey, I'm a young dude in Stockton. I'd rather not do gang stuff. So, hey, let's go to the park and rec center where there's like, I don't know, free basketball or food. Like, I don't know, the stuff they have in New York. Because I've seen it before where they have these centers for the youth to partake in activities that are very beneficial in their upbringing, such as after school they go hang out at the skate rink or whatever they did in the 80s, and they pretty much they're in a better environment rather than out on the street. So it's like, okay, the people work jobs, adult works a job, job's over. Starts. When school's over, where do the kids go? They go back home. But what about the ones that don't want to go home? How about we go to like the kid version of not of a bar, I guess, giving them healthy alternatives to do stuff instead of just being boring old Stockton where they can't do anything because it's like we'll put it like this: they don't have a lot of hope. They feel like there's nothing to do, so they do all this stuff. Because it's like if there's a billion other things you can do for fun in Stockton that give you a way better life, or even stuff that's fun to do. Do you logically speaking, do you really think that we wouldn't have a decrease in these amount of youth crimes, youth violence, if they didn't have an opportunity to do something better with their time? That's just it. Giving them an opportunity to do something better with their time than being stuck at home with no hope for a better future or like a crappy environment. Because I think Donna was saying is that we do have to hold the parents accountable as well, because it's like, well, they live with you, right? So when they're not at school, when they're not outside in the public, they're at home, right? So what's the home life like? Are you being a shitty parent? Are you just being neglectful? Or for some examples, it could be like maybe they're commuting to the Bay Area and they're trying to be a good parent, but it's just that they're gone so often they're unable to properly supervise or watch their kids because their job demands of it. It's like the situation varies, but the result is always the same. The kid does not have guidance. The kid is guided towards a shittier path, and then they meet the end of the path. Is that not logical? Like I think of it like how a machine would look at the problem. If the kid is not given a positive alternative, they will follow the same beaten path that so many other dead teenagers in Stockton have, and they'll go fall into that lifestyle or path or whatever brought them to that at the end of a fucking gun. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you don't give them a better path, then they're just gonna keep hitting face first into the wall. Am I onto something? Does that not make sense to give them a better alternative than to get shot in the fucking park over a stupid gang dispute, right? It just makes sense to me because in the 50s we had guns, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s we had guns. But as you can see, as time progressed, more youth violence started happening. But it wasn't always like that. And there's other countries like America that have access to guns, but they don't really have like all this violence that we do. So it's like, how the hell can you have firearms as much as we do, or even less?
Wait, so Scotty, what's your solution?
My
You're
solution
getting
is
lost.
to give the youth better, productive alternatives for their time, such as youthful activities that are like a park and rec center, a rink, a arcade, stuff like that. Pretty much a place where a kid can go that doesn't need money to go and do something productive, or maybe go study after school or a library, shit like that. It's nothing new because these places have existed before. It's just that they don't really exist in Stockton. Am I?
I mean, there are parks and there are like places that kids can go to and do things in extracurricular activities.
Name three.
What I what I ultimately think the issue is, and I actually I like how Jason Lee
Okay. You're not
spoke
gonna name.
about this.
I can
What
name.
happened?
I was saying name three places because I can't really name besides parks. I'm talking about like actual unique places that the youth can go to in Stockton for productivity. Like
Well, there's
we have libraries.
Weber Town Mall. There's also like these like arcades. Well, yeah,
Y'all got any like YMCA's or anything like that, or like youth
Yeah,
centers
why
or
don't we
something
have
like that?
that? We don't have a YMCA. We don't have that type of shit. because no one wants to
Yeah,
invest
we don't
into
have
it.
that here.
Why don't we have it? It's because no
Uh,
one wants to invest into it. Why is that?
Hmm.
See, it all goes back to nobody wants to put the stuff here, and then people wonder why we have a youth issue because it's a cycle. Business
Are
don't
there
put
like
it in, jobs don't
are
come
there
in.
like after school programs in schools? Because
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, where's that?
with what?
I don't know. I'm asking. Are there after
Programs
school programs at
for
schools?
No, no, there are programs. They're just not advertised because
yeah,
there's like a
what is it?
Stockton Boys and Girls Club. There's the Stockton Kids Club. There are programs, but they're not really advertised, and they're like, oh, it's only like a very select handful of them. There's only like I think 4 or 5 of them. So there's not enough. Could there be more? Yes. What I ultimately think Jason Lee, like our vice mayor, doing and talking to like the actual gangs and trying to see what they can do to like make the situation better is a good way to approach these things because ultimately this comes down to gang violence and from a very young age these kids are influenced to in I'm going to use gang slang terms to jump off the porch and some of these kids do it as young as the age of 12
Hmm.
and the issue so how can we affect that culture, how can we start to change or separate these kids from that kind of an influence, if that makes sense.
Give them a
And
lot
it
of
all
reasons not to.
Mm.
but it's not that easy because at the end of the day those are their brothers, those are their sisters, those are the people that they love, those are the people that they go home to every day. You
What's
can give somebody 1,000 other options that may seem better, but it's not. But sometimes it's not with the people that they love or they're comfortable with. And you got to understand, a lot of these people they go with what they're comfortable with over what they're not comfortable with.
Then that requires more drastic solutions, unfortunately. I mean, if the problem's that rotten and it's to that core where you'd rather not do any, you'd rather you'd rather do gang culture and violence and all that instead of being a 9 to 5 and being a productive member of society. And if that problem keeps multiplying,
Well,
it,
what if risking your life for a pound of weed to get what 10? I'm just exaggerating, like fucking 10 grand or two 2 grand or whatever. I don't know what a fucking pound of weed goes for right now. 2 grand, and it only takes you 15 minutes to flip it.
uh-huh.
Like you make for a lot of these guys, they look at it. All right, it's a quick, easy way to make money, and it's not really taxable, and it's all cash.
Yeah, it's easy.
That's what these people see.
Why wouldn't I do it, right? But then
Yeah.
again, what's the cost of that? Because there's always a cost. There's always a consequences that you got to pay when you engage in actions such that,
Correct.
right? Because
So how can we separate those children from that kind of environment in those kind of gangs? How can we go into those communities and provide them more resources like more Stockton Boys and Girls Clubs, like the YMCA? Because that's actually a really good idea. There are parks, there are already like things that people can go to, but there's no structure. How can we bring in more structure, a more structured organization to put on these things? Actually, that's something we could actually all like as a group here work on
structure,
together.
structure.
And think about ways that we could throw or host events for the community, for the youth, right? To try to influence them and try to get them to not necessarily follow a negative path.
Hey Nelson, how about this? Here's an idea. How about I don't know. I teach people how to make their own gaming PC for free. I don't know. That's just something. I know
Yeah,
computer shit.
you
I've done it before.
bring the pieces to like, right? We set up tents or whatever, and kids just come and they see you build a PC at the park.
It's fun stuff. I could think of all kinds of fun shit I could do, but the problem is that I don't have the resources in order to enact them. See, like I think like Jason Lee said, you
How
need
expensive
money,
would
bro.
it be to throw like an event like that?
Well, I don't know.
Depends where.
How exactly?
If it's indoor, outdoor.
No, like literally just at a public park.
You got to get a permit for it.
Probably, yeah. You probably need a permit of some sort.
And how much would a permit be?
Offhand, I don't know, but we could find out. I'm sure.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
question for your public candidate.
No, like honestly, I know it would. Honestly, it would be great for Shady Mob Productions to do something for the community. Shoot
I
the content with the community, right?
Hey Nelson, Alex, how's this?
Gotta have an influence.
I can teach you guys an internet. What am I gonna call this? I can teach you the way of the dark arts, such as getting your neighbor's Wi-Fi for free. No, the joke is that type of stuff is
Please.
stuff I'm learning, but it's so what a
Hey,
kid.
honestly, this is how you can start guiding the kids to turn away from the gun violence and get into the cybersecurity stuff.
Cybersecurity, not cyber crime. There's a big difference because what
You're an
I'm learning.
ethical hacker.
Yes, that's a difference. I'm ethical. Ethical.
It's
It's in the word.
it's like the same thing back in
I
the
have
day
to
when people used to
specify
steal each
this
other's
because people
cable.
are
And now
like
it's internet.
hacker.
What was that,
Noted.
Alex?
What?
What was that,
It's like
Alex?
the same thing. Scotty's teaching us how to. It's like back in the day when people used to steal each other's cable. Now it's internet.
Oh yeah.
Used to fuck with the wires and everything. It's like,
Or they had the hot boxes that you could buy, and
yeah, the hot pot. My dad would
you
tell
got
me about
every
those.
channel on the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's some real shit though. Is that I would actually enjoy teaching that because I could teach them something that they can use to make money. Here's an idea. What I'm trying to learn as much of a baby shark as I am, I'm trying to learn how to be a big one of these days, but to be a good shark because I have an innate. I like to teach people how to protect themselves. I like to do something good. I guess something to be remembered by, and I figure why not be the guy that teaches people how to protect their families and themselves online, but also how to be the attacker when necessary. Because that's what it's still in the name ethical, but I'm still trying to learn the hacking shit. But the point being is that there's this thing called bug bounties, which is so pretty much companies will pay you top dollar cash into your bank account if you find what vulnerabilities on their websites or networks. So I'm getting at here is that I would find great satisfaction in changing kids' lives around teaching them how to make a living with just a fucking computer and a Wi-Fi connection, teach them how to enjoy it. Pretty much do what I'm trying to do, but the reason why is because I feel like it'd be stupid to learn all this knowledge and just to take it to the grave when I can teach it to others and maybe change their lives for the better for it instead of just being selfish, I guess, because I don't want to let it go waste. But but the point is teaching them shit that is useful to turn their lives around, maybe steer them on a better path. What path? I don't know, but just something better. I guess give them the tools so they can be their own person. I don't know. It's a fucking far fetched dream. I suck ass at what I'm learning in my field, but I'm still learning at it. But my point is that I feel like it's a way better alternative than doing nothing. Because I think my mom told me this once is that you can talk shit, but can you do shit? I don't know. I'm figuring out that test. That is the question. There's only one way to find out about it, but yeah, I mean, picture it like this: if you're I don't know, if you're a parent in Stockton and you commute a lot and your kid doesn't really know how to do shit, but there's a program that the city hosts that you can send your kid to where they can learn free cybersecurity shit and how to make money. And, it's way better to do that than being out at night and, ending up at a sheet because a weed deal gone wrong. I mean, you guys tell me what's a better alternative. Because I can provide the first because it's way better than the alternative, right? Just think about it, man. How do you want your kids to be? In the morgue,
Yeah.
making big bucks doing cybersecurity shit because we all know in about 5 years that is going to be all the rage. Can you make
Well, no, not necessarily, because cybersecurity is going to go down the drain once AI continues to take off. But what I'm trying to get at is like what we can do is like we got to just come up with ways where realistically we have to come up with ways how not us, but like Stockton needs to come up with ways where like the community we can get resources to the community to provide them with actual facilities, YMCA, like organize like proper organized events for youth. There are already events, but there are not enough of them. And we just need to get better organized there. We also got to go into like the areas where it's like heavily impacted by gangs and try to work with those gangs and see what we can actually do. Talk to people. Um, that's my solution for like the youth violence.
I think
Try
that's
to
what that's
try
what
to offer try to
Jason Lee
offer
did.
like one of the things that I do remember back in middle school that we had was the gentleman's club. And the thing I loved about the gentleman's club was like you kind of it was like it was a club full of guys like me who were kind of like a little bit of like the troublemakers, but in that little club that we had, we preached excellence and trying to be better and trying to do the right thing and learning and like getting good grades and all that type of stuff. And it really helped mold my mentality on how to approach things. And I feel like a lot of schools in Stockton don't have things like that, programs like that after school, especially for the kids that are actually very troubled.
Again, that's just a funding issue, brother. Like
So
that's
we need
all it is. Like school.
Okay, and again, now if someone is wanting to run for
Well, no,
girls' council seat,
I
it's
think
something that they need
teachers
to
or
address.
people should volunteer. Well, this is the thing. I think Mr. Castillo, like my eighth grade history teacher, he volunteered to run that club, and it came out of like his own time to try to run it and like be there for us.
He was
So
doing
we,
God
well, we,
work. He was doing
no,
God
I
work.
know, and I appreciate Mr. Castillo. Shout out to you, Mr. Castillo. But realistically, we need to find teachers or people that are willing to give a little bit more of their time back to the youth to try to influence them in a positive way and
Me.
in a safe way.
What about me?
I didn't. Yeah, yes. I'm not saying no, Scotty. I've told you yes already, like 1,000 times.
I know I just like to.
He just likes hearing. What about me? No.
Okay, but again, now for someone that's interested in getting one of those council seats that are going to be up for grabs, this is an issue that that they should address. This is something that they could put in their platform. Yes, we have to, provide more in the way of resources, and if this means, going through the city budget and moving some money around into this area, that is something that a candidate could run on. Just putting that out there. It's food for thought.
The youth is the future.
But I'll share something from my past as far as
I was gonna.
how they dealt with troubled youngsters back in New Jersey. If okay, you technically it was 18. You could join the military. You could get in at 17 if your parents signed off for you. In other words, you could literally drop out of high school and join the military. But what would happen is if you got in trouble and it was something serious, and you were say 17, you went before the judge. They basically told you, well, we can send you away for 4 or 5 years to state pen in Rahway, or you can do 2 years for Uncle Sam, either at Fort Dix in the Army or down at Parris Island in the Marine Corps. What's your choice? And for a lot of us, well, that's how we got our tattoos in the service. Okay, that's how we wound up there. So, it's
Jack, what did you do back then that ended you up in the service?
Save that for a book. Write a book about it.
No. What do you mean as far as what I did in the service?
Chained up there.
No, what got you to go into the service? Did you actually want to go, or were you one of the troubled youth?
I got in a little bit of trouble. Yeah. So
What'd you do?
I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to go into it in here.
You're good. You're good. I gotta find out though that this is a very interesting story, J-Man. How he ended up in service. I love it.
Where'd you start? Where'd you start in? Like what fort?
Thank you for your service, by the way, bud.
Yeah, Fort Dix, New Jersey. Yeah. So Yeah, if
Were you Army, Navy?
Army.
Army, no.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much where on the East Coast. Yeah, that's where you go. I think California here is four-doored.
I'll be honest. I think that we should. I think that should be something that's re-implemented again. To be completely honest, Jack.
Yeah, I mean,
Some of them are going to take that choice.
because the military will teach you things like discipline and teamwork
And they pay you.
job skills, and
Free college.
and benefits. Yeah,
Home
when
loan.
you get out. I mean, I got my associate's degree, on their dime.
You get a discount at McDonald's. It's pretty fucking good, man.
Yeah, but
You get that dollar menu back.
no.
Hell yeah. I mean, I want some nuggets.
Yeah, I avoid the fast food joints, but that's okay.
I like big joints, though.
But yeah, and all right. So before we wrap up here, I wanted to touch base on one little thing that came by me this week from my source on the street there, and this is the ongoing prostitution problem up there at the end of Charter Way and I-5. You talk about the youth. Well, a lot on the female end wind up in this profession. Especially young ones and whatnot. And so
what happened this time?
well,
This time.
the people at Karl's Juniors have put in a gate now. And let me pull this
To
up
keep out
here.
the hookers?
They're to keep them off the property because they'll wander in there, and so yeah, they're well, this is what they got to do. 'cause-
Imagine getting the phone call for this, Jack. Hey, I need you guys to set up a fence. What for? I need to keep out the army of hookers. Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, allegedly they're also fighting out in streets
Like Mortal Kombat?
after dark.
Get
and
over
for
here.
for some reason, they can't get cops to come out there.
I wouldn't get that call. I'd fucking ignore that. Sir, we dispatch. We have 10 hookers having a thrash over at a cheeseburger land. Over.
I'll be honest. So this is one of the things that I've noticed. Cops really do not care about violence in Stockton. I remember one time there was a couple in the back, and I think the dude was beating his girlfriend. I called the police. They never showed up.
They're like, all right, we'll be there in about 3 hours.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to hear people that have waited, 3 or 4 hours, after calling.
How many dead bodies have to
finally
wait?
show up. I know going back, I used to live on Santa Paula Way, which has had a couple of homicides this year, and it's always been a bad area, although the rent is cheap. I will admit that. But
Jack, is the rent cheap because nobody can afford? Nobody's there because everyone's dead.
because it's a war zone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, but now lost my train of thought. But
Cheap rent.
no, it's just we talk about bad areas and stuff like that, and
Hey, you guys want to hear something trippy? What if Stockton crime gets so bad that the property value sinks so low that a corporation just outright buys the entire fucking city and everyone gets evicted because it's a corporate building land now? It's something trippy to think about, though. But if nobody can afford to get jobs here, then nobody can afford to live here. Then what are the citizens of Stockton going to do? It's like when to cut off the lifeline, then where are people going to go? I mean, I look at cities that have become ghost towns and that were like Stockton, that were once regular cities, but eventually hit really bad economically, and now nobody lives there. Everyone was forced to move. So how's that gonna? Lodi's got a way better economic status than we do, but with Stockton, we even have agriculture. Yeah, how's that working out, bro? Come on, bro. It's a city of big commuters and whatever else. So it's like, if you can't live here, where are you gonna go? If you're priced out of your home, bro. Because so Nelson, Alex, you guys we're in the same age group, but I guess I'm a different version. It's more like I can't afford none of the shit you guys can because economically I started out at a different point, so it's like playing catch up. So pretty much based on a guy who's even younger than me, say 18, does it makes sense that that's why a lot of guys can't really afford like what's it called,
Oh, hello.
have jobs. Like, well, hey, now so we can hear you. So I guess my point being is that it seems kind of bleak, right? So where do we go from here, right? I'm saying as a guy just starting off because like I'm the youngest of all you guys, and like guys younger than me is that just starting off now, like say 2025, it's about to be 2026. How are you gonna be able to own a car, get your own place if you're like if you're living like say if you're not living with your parents and you're living that must be a nightmare. You having to go to college. Like there's people like that already exist in Stockton. They don't have the luxury of living with their parents, and they're trying to survive. But the thing is, though, is that their check that they get, everything gets eaten off by all their rent and all these expenses. So it's like they can never grow. It's like they're stagnating. So my advice, my solution is that wouldn't it be nice if we had like a program that Stockton provides where people can learn skills that actually make them money so they don't have to live in their fucking car,
I
right?
think
It's not fun. I don't want to survive. I want to live, man.
I
I'm in
agree. I
America,
mean,
but Stockton
you
doesn't feel like an American thriving city. Stockton feels like an abandoned city that just happens to be loosely connected with America.
Sorry, guys. I'm having some audio issues on my end, so I cannot hear anything. I'm trying to resolve it right now.
Okay,
Okay.
Nelson.
uh,
What do you think, Alex?
I agree, man. I mean, there has to be some programs. It kind of connects back to Jack's original question about, or the
Ah,
topic
that rhymed.
about prostitution. And so, if there's outlets for people to apply themselves, different programs,
Mhm.
again, city ran, but
Way out.
it's all about the budget. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so it really just depends. I mean, some of these women who unfortunately, on the other side, right, where we talked about murders and all that,
Yeah.
there were some women involved in it's mainly the male populace that potentially could involve themselves more into that. But when it comes to the women, prostitution is a very easy way, to make money.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
pretty cut and dry.
with,
The
with,
men become killers and the women become prostitutes. That's
right.
kinda how it's been
So
always.
it kind of breeds the idea of what can the city do in order to combat, and it just starts again with the youth, because if there were programs and opportunities within the city, that's on the city at that point to implement, like programs after school, volunteer work, potential internships within the city. They would benefit with free labor, right? But at least they're not going to have kids or college students or young mothers who unfortunately you know did hurry up into motherhood when they didn't want
Take too
to,
long.
right? And so they resolved into prostitution. It would give them sort of outlets or things to be focused in, right? So
So a job.
again, so the fact that we're having a crisis with employment now, where numbers are super deflated compared to that reality of things, right? It's hard now. So again, it's up to the cities to do their due diligence and to help out their citizens living within the borders of the city, right? So that it's not a commuter city where people flee, right, to get jobs and come back just to live. If things were implemented, certain taxes were lowered for local businesses, they could then boom, right, and or have some sort of
Economic
subsidy
opportunities.
where it's
Jobs.
like if local business have some subsidy where, oh, you guys will get $10,000, let's say, some sort of incentive to hire local, right? Then that will increase the local economy. I'm assuming increase or decrease the vacancies you guys are seeing in your downtowns, and then have more people commute into the city versus out. So that's my 2 cents. Well, what
Yeah.
can I do? I mean, I don't know.
Your 2 cents is gold.
Yeah, well, we're in kind of a unique situation here in that,
We need money.
okay, we have people that work here that would like to buy a house, for instance, and they'll qualify for a mortgage. However, they'll only qualify for, like, say, 275 to 300,000. New house here is going to cost you 500. All right, they're talking about putting in new houses here in a couple of spots, developments, and then that's what the going rate's going to be. So the people who are here working can't afford those houses. So who's going to buy them? People from the Bay Area. who will now come here. In the meantime, we don't have, the high-paying jobs here. We don't have companies coming in bringing these kind of jobs here, and so this is like a cycle that continues. We can build more housing. They say we need more housing, but the people living here can't afford it. So now the outsiders are going to come in, and this has just been the ongoing cycle. And the only way I see in that being broken is if we can, like the mayor wants to get the shipbuilding going here. That would be huge. That would provide a lot.
That'll be huge, especially manufacturing. With the fact that the country wants to bring back a lot more manufacturing, that'll bring in skills. People with families. I'm sure ships they take about what 2-3 years to build, maybe even 4.
Oh yeah, and they may. It looks like it's going to be at least a few years just developing the infrastructure to do the shipbuilding, which by itself is going to provide jobs. So that's a plus. If we get that going, and then do something on the tech side, at least use these abandoned buildings that are all over the place, and invite startups. Focus on that. Get startups in here. Odds are, a good number of them will grow, be successful. They'll get swallowed up by bigger fish. Now you'll get those bigger companies coming in here. They're going to want more office space and warehouse space and whatever, and you'll get that growth thing started in that direction. But unless we can get stuff like that into the mix here, this cycle that we're on now is going to continue.
Hey, Jack, Alex Nelson, I'm going to make a startup. Plot twist.
Okay.
Okay, well, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. What's your guys' opinions? That's kind of what this is all.
Scotty, haven't you been saying you're gonna make a startup for the last like 3 weeks?
I said it 1%.
That was like the least rabbit hole thing you've said all night.
Oh, it's true though. It's just an idea. Like this is the first time I actually know it. The other times that was like not taking it seriously. This time it's like actually taking it 100% seriously, because when I'm listening here is that at this point it seems as though that
Didn't you just say that last week, Scotty?
No, I didn't. We were talking about that last week. This is the first time I'm talking about actually making a startup, but going fucking legit. When I say startup, I'm talking about shady mobs collabs with whatever I can come up with. That type of startup. That like in paper stuff, like an LLC, like an address and office. Because what I kind of want to train people. That's kind of the point is that if I can train people to do what I can do, that kind of make jobs, right? And that makes more useful people who can go and help out the community, which makes money, which brings it in, which is kind of my entire.
Doing a startup, you don't have to have a degree or anything. You have to have some sort of capital, especially just to go through the paperwork.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I need help with, because I don't understand it.
Yeah, submitting an articles of incorporation, and also there's another form. A California compliance form with LLCs, C corps, S corps. If you're a proprietaryship, if you're one person, if you're a partnership. So there's different types that you can do, and depending what type of service.
What's the solo?
LLCs are just overall better, just because it's limited liability.
That one.
And if you're trying to do a startup and it's non-profit at first, it's a good image. It's really nice, and you can also train folks too. That's your service.
What's nonprofit? I'm done when it comes to business. I only know computers.
Nonprofits are pretty much you're doing the service for nonprofit, so it's going towards either a donation or it's because of philanthropy of what you're doing. And you're not really making a profit. You're not doing this for like, I guess like a nonprofit is
doing it for free.
It's close to free. They have operating costs, but they're not like, they're kind of breaking even, or like if anything, it's almost at a loss. Like for example, in Oakland, there's a business where they pick up trash, right? It's a nonprofit, right? They're established, but it's for the city, and people bring in, donations and everything, and it's all put into the company without a profit, right? It's all breaking even because it costs to get bags or gloves or, chainsaws if it's a fallen tree, right? It's stuff like that. It's not really for a profit. So you can do a lot of things for your startup, and
How's it work
there's
for mine specifically? Like everything you just said, like in your experience, like use that as a template. Like, how would that apply for like me specifically? So what I'm trying to do, like you said, is like not the garbage thing, but like a nonprofit, startup that like does whatever IT cyber stuff that you need. Pretty much everything computer related. But how
I,
like go about that? How would you
I
do
would
that?
say you'd probably want to do a service company because you're offering the service of IT.
Yeah.
Of And so in that sense, you should do an LLC because you don't want the liability of someone saying, "Oh, you just put malware on my computer." And you're like, "No, I didn't." And they're like, "I don't believe you. I'm suing you." The company has very limited liability. It's not liable, right? In that sense. So in whatever contract there, it's legally not liable. So there's that. And then what else you can do is you can just advertise what type of services you're offering and then go off of that, like IT work. If you're specifying either in Windows, Linux, Mac, whatever type of IT. If it's website specific, HTML type work, all that type of stuff. And really it's just how you focus it, right? You just make the company what your business is doing. I'm assuming it's probably going to be a service. You're not really offering a product, right? It's not tangible. And then 3 is just getting the word out, right? And then 4 is actually executing. You can show people. You have to have a portfolio at least. And then 5 is just running the business at that point. However, you want to make revenue either through services, bundles. Is it by hour? Is it by the actual project? And then going off of that, and then your expenses too. I'm sure you have to have like a server. I'm sure you have to have a really nice computer, for work. So and then also advertising as well. It's a constant variable cost. So there's a lot of stuff, but there's a step-by-step plan. Nelson and I are very familiar with starting businesses. So it takes some thinking. You have to be very monotonous with what you do, but I mean anybody can do it. And taking the right steps is very important.
Well, I think Jack can vouch for me when that I can do my job. I set up the router.
Yeah, yeah, we got a whole new level of security here in the Bat Cave.
There you go.
Thanks
Yeah,
to
it's
Scotty.
Exhibit A. That's the portfolio. You already have one quote unquote client that you just made, and that can vouch for you. So that's there you go. You're
I
skipping
was
steps.
gonna say the first step in starting a business is always just going for it and starting the business.
Well, I just started five something. So I'm kind of stoned 5 minutes ago. Fuck it, we're doing it. Fuck it, we'll do it live. We'll do it live. We're doing it live.
Ugh.
Yep, we sure are. Okay.
I do have to say, I do have to.
Scotty, I'm gonna need to get your contact info, Scotty, so I can check in on you like on the weekends to see what progress you've done with your
I need to.
with Scotty's cybersecurity enterprise.
Hold me accountable. Train me.
I,
Yeah.
I apologize, folks. I gotta go soon. I gotta go because I got an interview tomorrow.
Good luck, man.
Okay.
In the morning. But it was a pleasure. Thank you guys for having me on. Always a
All right.
pleasure. I'll be on next week for sure.
Yeah. Next week I would like to cover some financial stuff.
Sure.
A little bit more about the digital currency and
Yeah.
investments and things like that. And
I'll read up on it, and just send me that email. That always helps. What
all
we're
right.
talking about.
Awesome. Okay,
All right,
Alex.
guys.
Thanks a lot.
Bye from me.
Talk to you later.
Good luck, man. What were you saying, Nelson?
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 We need to exchange contact information, Scotty. So when when you actually start Scotty's cybersecurity enterprises, yeah, I could keep tabs on you like every weekend as like you're doing something, just making sure you're actually doing it.
Gotcha.
I actually have a script for a video ad for him also to start off. So I've done a little bit on that end.
All right, so that means J-Man's already doing his part. I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it's piece by piece. We'll pull it together. Yeah. All right. Well, on that note,
With your guys' help, I think I can pull it off.
all right. Well, how about let's do our plugs. Nelson, anything you want to promote?
Guys, go check out Shady Mob Productions or shadymob.com, where you will find a series of channels. You will find Port City Uncensored, N1 from the End Zone, A&A Radio, Shady Mob Podcast, and Smacks_TTV for all of our latest content. We appreciate all the love and support. Back to you, J-Man.
All right, Scotty, any final words?
Hell yeah, I do. All right, so let's see today. This is some general. I call this some Scotty cybersec advice. So pretty much, let's see. Everyone has a network that gives them internet because we'll have a modem. A modem gives you Wi-Fi. So pretty much about your modem, it produces a network that when you go on your phone and you click Wi-Fi, lo and behold, hey, there's my Wi-Fi network. So the thing though is that it's called an SSID, the network name pretty much, and that's what the name it's broadcasting. So if I was to label my network name FBI Spy Hideout 420 Blazing 3XD, whatever, something like that, that's a very suspicious network name, right? So if I was a very naughty hacker person and I see a person's network name that sounds so fucking ridiculous, I kind of want to check it out, man, because it's like Bill Cosby incarnate sounds fucking even hilarious worse, but it's like this shit exists. So the network names that you make, people can see it. Because your neighbor, for example, pulls out his phone when he's in bed. He's like, I wonder whose network's name's nearby. They
The
can
one we
see all
saw
that.
yesterday in my neighborhood here, the FBI guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Is that we're in a completely different building, whatever, and we can see that name, and that dude is like, I want to less than half a mile away. Whatever the distance is, that our Wi-Fi can connect that, can see that. So my point being is that someone who's a naughty neighbor who has technical know-how can check out that network. So my point being is that make your network name very inconspicuous as possible. So here's a trick. If I suck ass at hiding my trail, and I know someone's gonna find me anyway, and I'm gonna chase, and I barricaded the room, I know they're gonna breach the room. The best hiding place is in plain sight. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna put on a dress, and I'm gonna look like a mannequin and stand still. And the guys kick down the door, and like, okay, we're gonna check the room. And they check the room, like, oh well, there's nothing here because you blend in with the mannequin. You don't stand out. The point is that you're going to change your network name to something such as like Linkies or Xfinity Wi-Fi or Coffee or something stupid, or like if you're a hacker and you're looking for a very valuable, or like something catches the eye, a network name, you're gonna go for the most eye-catching one. But if you have like a basic ass one that has like, say, a bunch of numbers, like it's like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3. It's like, oh, it just looks like it's just a bunch of fucking numbers. But if I see something that says banking banking guest login network, well, guess what? That is a network that people log into to make banking transactions. So now I know that network is where you do banking transactions. You stupid motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right? You just told me that you're what's it called? The worst thing you can say is you can't hack me, or it's like that. You're just being challenged. But no, the real part is that if you have a utility or service that is only provided by accessing the network, and you need to be logged into that network, it's like, okay, I need to access my bank account, or I need to access this computer, or whatever the case may be, and you have to access a network for whatever reason it is, and you label the name of that network for what that network is for. Well, guess what? Your neighbors can also see what that's for. So now your neighbors know that there's a network for Wi-Fi, there's a guest Wi-Fi network, there's also a banking, a transaction network, because your stupid ass labeled it that. Now they're going to check that out. So that you have to obfuscate that by just having your network name be something basic, right? Because the more you stand out, the more you're gonna get targeted. So that's one piece of advice. Another piece of advice is to make sure that your network has a lot of security features installed. Like just slap all that shit on it like a fucking onion. Like the more layers you add, the harder you're making it. So we need Wi-Fi. Okay, we need a modem. You just have Wi-Fi, but not every modem is the same. For example, a fucking really cheap, poor eBay or thrift shop Wi-Fi thing, like yeah, it broadcasts its network, but its encryption is only WEP, and guess what? That's easy for someone to hack into because the reason is that it's unencrypted. Not everyone's Wi-Fi box is secure, right? Because if that was the case, then why the fuck on Amazon there's like $500 Wi-Fi routers that have all this latest technology shit slapped onto it? Well, yeah, because that's what the fuck the banks are using, right? They're not using some tiny ass little Wi-Fi box that only has one Ethernet cord. Really? Yeah. Well, how about their servers, right? Because their servers are connected to the internet. What's protecting their servers? Because it's not always about your computer. If you're a small business and you're like Shady Mob and you store all your customer information on a database in a server that's connected to the internet, but it's secure, right? Because, well, I don't know if it's secure. It has a what's it called? Put it like this. You put a router on that people connect to access the server, but you forgot to hide your modem. Your router protects you, can route stuff, but your modem you didn't hide it. And when I say hide, I mean you have to hide your SSID because your modem produces
Guys, I must bid you adieu. I appreciate you guys. I will talk to you guys soon.
All right, take care.
All right. Talk to you later.
What was that? What was that? Yeah, so it's like you have a router that produces Wi-Fi that people connect to, but your modem is still producing that signal. You need to hide that signal, so you have to hide the SSID. So that's why there's an app for your router. There's an app for your fucking modem, right? So you need to make sure that you have the best security settings enabled on both of them, not just one. Because if my router is secure, but you have a shitty password on your modem, well, guess what? They connected to that and they logged into your modem because your modem manages your router. And guess what? Your admin password was 12345. Now they can see that, okay, now I know what router this is. Now I know that you have a router connected. I'm going to shut off your router now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's layers to this game.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's
So it's like hide your network name that you use to connect. Your neighbors can see it. Hide it because you can hide it. You need to broadcast it because you can connect to your network without it broadcasting it. That's just so it's easy to know. Hide that. Make sure you have a good password, latest encryption, WPA3. And make sure you also hide your router and your modem and everything else that produces a network that people connect to that's tied to you.
all right.
It's all connected.
Okay, well, all good advice for those of you out there concerned with cybersecurity, and yeah, it's definitely food for thought and some good advice there. So, all righty, well, I guess that's going to wrap it up for tonight. I want to thank Nelson and Alex and Donna for jumping on tonight, and Scotty. And yeah, we will be back next Thursday. We're going to be talking about some financial stuff. So, yeah, if money is on your mind, tune in. And that being said, adios, everyone.
Hey, hit the like button.